Don't move. Hello, my friends, and very welcome to Matiu channel. Today we have Serkan here, born in France, raised by a Turkish family. I try to remember. Then he left home at age 23, moved to UK for 2 years, then Denmark for 4 years. After that, Southeast Asia for 9 months, and since February he's traveling for unlimited time.
One way.
Okay, good. So can you please give us suggestions for a solo travelers who would like to have the same lifestyle but don't know where to start?
I don't think you need a lot of courage to travel. You just need enough courage to live. If you're EU citizen, it's even easier. You can go to Canada and then make enough money in few months to travel, like a year or so. In my case, I've been planning this travel for the past 2 years. I worked and I saved up. This is a way of doing it. If you don't have the patience, don't wait, just go. Every time that people want to go and travel, the first thing that comes out is money. You don't need much money to travel when you think about it. I would recommend people to use tools like Couchsurfing. You can hitchhike. The biggest expenses come from 3 different sections: accommodation, transport, and fruits. This is all you need. Accommodation, you can couchsurf. For transportation, you can hitchhike if you're in a save up. And for the food, it's in shops. I know people that traveled through Europe with like €5 a day. That depends where you want to do it. But if you're a backpacker, then you mostly travel on a budget. And that, I think, brings a lot of crazy experiences as well. Right now, traveling for 9 weeks. And I didn't spend one night in a hotel or in a hostel. I didn't spend a cent on accommodation within 9 weeks just through couchsurfing.
I also used couchsurfing very often and I saved a lot of money and met amazing people on the way. But is it that easy to find right place and right people through the couchsurfing?
It's gonna depend of how many references you have and about your personality. If you're just looking for a place to stay, most of people, they won't take you to their home and to their life. But yeah, it works. Nowadays, during COVID, I never had a problem. I'm going to Riga in a few hours and I have my couchsurfer there, my host.
Absolutely amazing. The most important lessons you have learned during your trips, long trips.
Oh, that's gonna sound a bit cliche, but that gave me a lot of self-confidence in a way. I didn't know that I could be capable of doing so many things and on my own, and like everything that you have to manage. There's so much responsibility in a way when the accommodation, food, and then all that transportation in a place that you don't know the language, you don't know the people, you're on your own. But at the end of the day, it was just so easy.
So if you're coming back home, if you are searching for a job or you have to communicate with people you see for the very first time, it's quite easy for you because you got a lot of experience from different cultures and environments. Is that the case?
Yeah, especially someone who lives in Denmark, where people are a bit cold. When you come back from India, it's like, of course, the more people you meet, the more open you become in a way. And those cultures, they bring you so much. You don't even need to talk to people, just walk in the street and they will come talk to you because you're exotic to them.
Any other lessons you learned? Maybe to be careful or just protect yourself, fight for yourself. Be strong and say no to some beggars on the streets or street vendors.
You just have to see them as human beings and yeah, you could be them. First time I arrived to India, so it was at the beginning of my travel. I'd never been outside of Europe before. And honestly, it was just so overwhelming. Just came out of the station and like everybody's talking to you, coming to you. So, what's your name? Where are you from? Do you want that? Do you want this? Come with me, I'm gonna show you something. It's like, no. And like, we didn't even want to go out of our hostel.
It makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. You know when you drink tea, you have to put a little piggy like that?
Yeah, I do like that anyway because it's naturally, it's like aristocratic. So what's the hardest thing of being solo traveler?
It takes a bit of time to readjust. Europe and Asia, in my case, are just so different. But it just takes a bit of time and then you're back on the road.
When you're coming back home, don't you feel like depressed a little bit if you think that one day you have to stop your travels and just live this normal life as other people do?
Post-traveling depression is pretty common. It's like my mom said that I have worms in my ass. Just like I can't stand in the same place.
I think you can just have a simple life, the garden, a shelter, yourself and dogs, and it's absolutely enough after all those travels.
That's the dream. I live a minimalist lifestyle, so I don't need much. I have 4 t-shirts and 5 socks.
I thought you said I got 40 shirts. We have to remark here.
Social security, I mean, it's nice to be taken care of when you're sick. But as a French citizen, I'm lucky enough to not be worried about that. I will always have healthcare.
Even if you don't work while travel, because I think if you don't pay taxes, you don't get a social security, no?
Don't scare me like that. I mean, in France, if you don't work, you even get money from the government. So
have you ever been robbed, scammed, raped, stabbed by knife during your travels?
not yet. Anywhere you go, at any time, always do research. It's the most important thing.
I never done it.
You're still alive. That's good. You need to know what you're stepping in. And because you can easily make a mistake and get into trouble. I went to a place called Brunei Darussalam, which is on Borneo Island, and it's a Muslim country where they have the Sharia law, ruled by a sultan, one of the richest in the world. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go there, book my tickets, get into the airport, and I have a bit of time. I was like, I'm still gonna check like the rules, what I can bring with me or not. There was a computer in the airport, and I go there, and it's written, there is not allowed to smoke or drink in the country, even a cigarette in the streets, or you get arrested. And the first thing I would have done is come out of the airport and crack a cigarette after 3 hours of flight, you know. I have a story about Singapore. A guy was like having a drink at night. Girl who was in the group, she pays for the drinks, and he's like, oh no, let me give you money for that. She's like, no, I don't want it. She's like, no, please let me. And she was like, no, please keep your money. And she had a backpack and with a stripe, and he took the money and just like put it here. He was like, take the money. And then I was like, okay, and then she left. But meanwhile, someone complained, called the police, that there was sexual harassment from a foreigner, and the police came and they arrested this guy. He was Australian.
Really? For getting money? For someone? You get arrested?
Touching her.
For touching her?
And he got sentenced to the cane.
Maybe
and then
he
she
put
left.
the money here in a bra. Maybe he put him.
I
don't know.
Yeah, maybe he didn't tell me all the details. I mean, that in this case, fair enough. But yeah, crazy. Singapore, crazy. And do your research all the time.
Police is very, very strict there. Yeah, and also if you are traveling to India, you have to warn your bank because your card can be blocked if you want to do some transactions. When I was trying to purchase my visa to India, I could not make a transaction because it was declined. So I just warned my bank that I'm traveling to India for a half year, so they made it possible to make a transaction. You have to be aware of that because you can't be left without money, and it's the worst thing can happen to you abroad. Let's go to the next question.
Actions.
So any meeting situations change your life?
I had many extraordinary meetings, and I think one that I tell the most is probably the shortest meeting ever. It was probably about 2 minutes, and we didn't even speak the same language. We were biking in Vietnam with my friends to a hotel on the map, and we went there and it was like half built. It wasn't finished. Middle of the night, is getting dark. What are we gonna do? So we go back on the dirt road, and there was this woman selling like cigarettes in this little cabin that she's there with a baby in her arms. And we asked her, do you know about the hotel? And she's like, no hotel here. I was like, oh damn, we have to do I don't know how many kilometers, like 100 or something, to go to the next town, middle of the night. And she looks at us, stands back, and she points out at her mattress. She has like a small mattress, and it's like, if you want, you can stay there. And it was like the most beautiful thing I ever seen. People who have the less that give the most. And I experienced that on my everyday life.
Cultural differences in between of Europeans and Asians, in few words.
Oh my God, it's like two different worlds. One of the biggest differences with Europe, it's mostly the values they have. Friend values, family values, they are very close to each other. They would just stop you in the street, like you will walk in the street and say, hey, hello, what's your name? What are you doing here? Are you married? Do you have kids? What work do you do? Good job, good money? Yeah, good money. I've been invited to places like just walk in the street and people say, oh, what are you doing tonight? You want to come eat at my place?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're just so curious about what are you doing here, basically, who are you? And this is so beautiful, it's about the people. In Europe, we're more a loner. In Asia, for 9 months, I traveled alone, but I never been alone. Always with people. Travel alone, but never be lonely. Travel light, get a travel insurance, very important. Look up where you're going and the rules of the country. Get your vaccines, very important as well.
Vaccination.
Vaccination, always. Don't joke with that. Pretty much the 4 golden rules.
The flower. The most important is the flower. For Francis.